Welcome to the Right Now Project. This is, wow, crazy. I've been doing one podcast for several years, the Trauma Therapist podcast, and now this is my second venture, and I'm super excited about this project. What does it take to heal? What is required? Let me get right to the point here. First of all, thank you so much for listening. The Right Now Project is a podcast dedicated to anyone, therapist or not, who is on a mission to heal. Anyone who is struggling, who in overwhelm, whether that be anxiety, depression, addiction, loss, grief, and I'm not even talking about trauma here, but who is ready to begin their healing process, who is ready to come to a site. I wanted to create a platform where people could come to and share their story and honor their courageousness. It takes a lot of courage, I think, to step up and say, you know what? To raise your hand and say, I need to heal. I need to get this. I need to work on this. I need to move through this. I wanted to create a platform where people could come to and share their stories, and even think that it's not going to help anybody. But when we read, when we go and share our own story, we are not aware of how inspiring it is. And I wanted to create a platform where people could go to and read the stories of people just like yourself who are working through their struggles. And that is inspiring. We need to know we're not alone. We need to know we're not the only one who's in overwhelm from the craziness that we're all living in now, whether it be politics or the climate or whatever. And for me, I feel it's very powerful when we're surrounding ourselves with other people who are stepping up and saying, you know what, I need to address what's going on in my life right now. And that is what I want the Right Now Project to be about. I'll talk more about what's in the membership, but all right, let me get a sip of water here as we get going here. When I, as I was doing the Trauma Therapist podcast and interviewing seasoned therapists from around the world, all of whom had dedicated their lives to helping people who've been impacted by trauma, I would ask of all of them a series of questions, and one was if they could share an early clinical error. Now, I know this podcast is not, dedicated to therapists, but just bear with me here. What I thought I would get, the responses I thought I would get, were along the line of, well, this intervention didn't work, and I was going to utilize page 222 of Pat Ogden's book or Bessel van der Kolk's book, and that didn't work. Instead, what I heard, what the therapist after therapist shared with me was that they didn't allow themselves to be who they were. They didn't allow their vulnerability to come through. They didn't allow just their human beingness, if I can quote Manuela Mishka-Reeds there. They didn't allow their human beingness to come forth. Now, that blew me away. It challenged me also because I felt it made me realize how much of my own self I wasn't allowing to come forth, how much I was maybe hiding behind the curtain in a sense, and just the facets of ourselves, right? So many of them we have that we don't allow into the light for whatever reason. These could be larger or smaller facets within our psyche, but that realization became very powerful for me because I realized that within therapy, the therapist is often hiding behind the guise. And look, when I was seeing clients, I certainly was, and not intentionally, but there's certain issues there about, wanting to fix and needing to fix. You get into this field because you want to help, quote unquote, and take away the pain. And I realized that that's not what it's about. I mean, certainly, knowledge is important, okay? But being able to be oneself, to be authentic, and to be vulnerable, to be a human being is crucial in the healing process. And for a therapist to be able to do that, it allows the other person, right? It allows us, the client sitting on that other end, to realize, however unconsciously that happens, that we too can be ourselves, that we too can be valuable just as we are. And I think when you've been impacted by trauma, especially interpersonal trauma, interpersonal violence, oftentimes that belief in yourself gets ripped away. It gets wrenched away. And to even think that you could be valued, that you could even trust yourself, that you could love yourself or like yourself, and that other people could value you, that you're valued for who you are, for all the ups and downs of yourself, all the peaks and troughs of who you are, that those could be valued. Yes, that is vital. And to me, that's not only the beginning of healing, but that's really essentially what healing is. And that to me is so powerful. And yet it's very, very challenging oftentimes for a lot of therapists to get to that point, to look at themselves, to do that inner work. And of course they do, but a lot of times it's hard. Look, for all of us, it requires us to look at who we are. Maybe there are a lot of parts of ourselves that we're not too fond of, but as Richard Schwartz, the founder of Internal Family Systems, which is a therapeutic modality, he says all parts are welcome. And I love that, because we each have different parts. Some of them we hold closer to us. Some of them we like to put out into the world and put onto Instagram or whatever it is. But to get to a point, I feel, where we're able to honor the different parts of ourselves and realize how important that is in our own healing journey is crucial. And it's what this podcast is about. Owning, allowing yourself. First of all, I think it takes a lot of courage to begin that healing process, right? To take that first step, let alone to say, all right, you want me to talk about the struggle, my own? Yes, that's what I do want you to do. I'm inviting you to do that. And that's what I'm doing here. And you'll see as this podcast evolves and progresses, within a few short weeks, I'll share more and more about my own process, about the impetus, the genesis for starting this. But to be able to do that, to be able to have a place where you can go to, where you'll know you're not going to be judged, you're not going to be shut down or put down. No, there's going to be none of that on this site. You're going to be honored for sharing your story, whatever it is. Look, when I was younger, I was bullied, okay? And it jacked me up. It just really impacted the trajectory of my life, of the course of my self-esteem, of the arc of my presence in relationships, of how I thought about myself, how I carried myself, and on the scale, if we can use a continuum of trauma, that probably pales in comparison to a lot of other people who've experienced horrific, right, interpersonal trauma. But whatever it is, we're not here to judge you. And what I'm saying is, again, all parts are welcome and all of yourself is welcome. And that's what I want to do here with this first episode of the podcast. I want to let you know what it's about, and I want to let you know why I created this and why I needed to create this. I mean, in part, this is part of my own healing. I think we're all working through our own stuff, right? No, I certainly don't have it all figured out, but I know there's power in, again, getting together and being able to learn from others, being able to engage with others. Look, I get so inspired when I'm interviewing someone who is just present and authentic. That, to me, lights me up. And in fact, look, when you meet someone who is who they are, there's no artifice. There's no self-consciousness. They're just there. They're just present. They're authentic, right? In all their glory and in all their guts and in all their ups and downs. You can feel it. You can see it. You can hear it. We as a people, as individuals, as humans, we're attracted to that. Not in the sexual sense, but just in the human being sense of it. We're attracted to that because it's essential to the human connection, right? And in turn, it allows us to settle into ourselves. It allows us to think, maybe for the first time, too, right? That maybe that part of me is okay. Maybe I'm okay. And I'm here to say, and this podcast is about this. You are not only okay with all of your different facets, right? But you're vital and you're needed and we need you. So look, I hope this resonates with you. I want to create an environment where we are stepping up and willing to raise our hand and say, yeah. And even to ourselves, right? Raising our hands to ourselves and say, what? Let's get this taken care of. Let's address this. I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to look at this. And you will have people behind you. That's the part. That's essentially what this group is about. I'm telling you, we will have your back. We will have your back. There's nothing more inspiring than being able to read, to learn about, to see how other people are working through whatever it is they're working through. Again, I mean, I'm not just talking about trauma. I'm just talking about the overwhelm that so many of us experience just day to day. But there's so much inspiration in being able to just to see how other people are working through whatever it is they're working through, to engage with others who are working through their process, being willing to share their process, to see others, right? To see others step up, to honor their courage to do so, and also to share the process of how they're working through their struggle, how they're moving along their healing journey. That is inspiration. That is inspiring. This is what I want to create. I hope this is resonating with you. And if it is, you can learn more. Join us by going to therightnowproject.com. That's therightnowproject.com. Have an awesome day. And thank you for being here.